So we all know that all it took for Amber Heard to cancel Johnny Depp and to destroy his career for a period of time. Thank God he's climbing out of it now after years of expensive litigation. But we all know that all it took for society to cancel him, for him to be professionally destroyed, was the allegations of Amber Heard. It turns out a hoaxer and a liar. There was no evidence. There was a bruise that showed up from somewhere that she paraded around in front of TMZ and everyone else at the courthouse when she filed her bogus restraining order. And all her other fake evidence that has been exposed over the years, but that wasn't really evidence. You know, random pictures, snippets of conversation or of a fight between them, right? She had no evidence, but based on her word and based on that little performance that she did outside the LA County Courthouse, Johnny Depp was ruined. Now, we all know that a number of other men have been ruined for actually far less than that. You know, at least Amber Heard has some fake pictures to show everybody. We know that a number of men have been professionally and socially ruined and canceled based on nothing more than the allegations of women. But you know, what I find really interesting is how this same level of concern is just never focused on women when women get in trouble for committing acts of assault or domestic violence. And I'll give you one case in point here, and this is just one object lesson, and this is from 2013. But I think it's just appalling, and it's appalling that it hasn't been brought up since then. You know, you could look back and you could say, well, in 2013, you know, attitudes were different. Attitudes toward women being assaulted were even different. Yeah, well, I don't understand the excuse for us today for the fact that today, Emma Roberts, and yeah, I'm just going to come out and say it, all right? Emma Roberts, she was arrested in Montreal in 2013. Some people know this, but not enough people know it. Emma Roberts was arrested in 2013 in Montreal in a hotel. She had gotten into a fight with Evan Peters in a hotel room. But they had a fight in this hotel room, and the cops were called, and TMZ, according to TMZ, and look, here's the thing, when TMZ quotes law enforcement sources, to me, that has a bit more authority than just anonymous allegations. And what happened was, when Emma Roberts was arrested in Montreal for domestic violence, okay, we know she was arrested. That's not rumor or anything. I mean, she was booked for domestic violence. When she was arrested, TMZ said that law enforcement sources, anonymous law enforcement sources, told them that someone next to them, next to their hotel room, had called the cops because of the loud disturbance. And when the cops got there, they found Evan Peters with a bloody nose and bite marks on him, and Emma Roberts seemingly completely unharmed, and she was booked immediately. It was very clear to everyone present, apparently, who the assaulter was. And just like in the case with Amber Heard, where the abuses that she heaped on Johnny Depp, I mean, all kinds of physical abuse, verbal abuse, and even to the point, as we know, of cutting his finger off, giving him bruises, all of this. Just like it was so hard for the media, so hard for the press, even today it's so hard for the media to believe that he was the victim in that. Well, how could a woman, you know, she's smaller than him. I hate that argument, by the way. She's smaller than him. Have none of you ever been around a crazy cat before? Something little can do a lot of fucking damage, especially when you don't want to fight back. All right? Why is it that Emma Roberts didn't have a bloody nose or bite marks or anything? Well, it's because Evan Peters didn't fight back. And the police knew that when they got there. They arrested her. And then, you know, if you have any doubt as to who the culprit, who the abuser in this relationship was between Evan Peters and Emma Roberts, look at the tape, look at the video I'm going to show you of when, right after she was released from jail, and look at who's still doing the gesticulations and the crying, the really dramatic crying, and the woe is me, and yet there's Evan Peters just sort of passively, sadly, just trying, you know, to comfort her, and she's gesticulating and crying, right? It's such obvious manipulation. It is exactly what an abuser, a toxic personality in a relationship will do. right? Everything becomes about making the abuser feel better. So even when the abuser is taken to jail for abusing someone, well, the person who was abused feels like they have to sort of passively comfort that person. It's okay. Yeah, I know you didn't mean it. I'm not going to press charges. And he didn't. And that's why nothing happened, because he refused to press charges. And no, I don't absolutely know 100% what was going on there. But here's my point. Regardless of what the truth was, I have my opinions, and it should be pretty clear what my opinions are. But regardless of what the truth is, the fact that society has had such a double standard in the way that it deals with these types of things, because what happened in 2013, and what still so often happens, is that when a woman is abusive, when a woman hits a man, even when she gives him a bloody nose and bite marks, it's seen as just being kind of trivial, maybe even kind of funny or whatever. Oh, things kind of got out of hand with y'all, huh? And the reaction to a lot of people after she was released, after Emma Roberts was released from jail, and she did this whole performance with crying and everything, all right? I don't doubt it was real. She probably hated that she'd gotten arrested, gotten busted, and gotten some bad press. But don't worry, Emma Roberts, the bad press didn't last very long, did it? In fact, all you had to do was cry, and all people had to see were those shots of Evan Peters and you making up, and it's like, oh, they're back together. They're getting through it, you know? And so then you have these stories afterward, oh, they're back together, how they got past the arrest, blah, blah, blah. Emma Roberts' dad out there saying, well, they're two adults. Of course, Emma Roberts' dad himself having been arrested twice for harassment and domestic violence. It's not rocket science, y'all, to figure out where this stuff comes from, right? Amber Heard's dad, the way he was Amber Heard. Eric Roberts, the way he was Eric Roberts' daughter, especially, you know, with probably the spoiled attitude that she has, having been the object of adoration her entire life as a child actress and then a successful actress, niece of Julia Roberts. I'm sure she's a fucking terror to deal with. You know? No wonder Evan Peters wanted to do the Dahmer show, right? He was probably like, well, it'd be nice to take out a bite of someone else for a change instead of having it taken out of me by my crazy girlfriend. Sorry, bad joke there. A little Dahmer humor. Woo-ga! Sound the alarm. I'm so over the moralizing about the Jeffrey Dahmer series. Please, just, oh my God. It's like this new generation, and I'm sorry, I hate to sound like a grandmother, but I just don't recognize some of these attitudes. And it isn't just the younger generation either. It seems to have like infected lots of people. This hypersensitivity. And yeah, I know, it was a crazy story, right? We don't want Dahmer's behavior to be emulated, but we've made movies and art about all kinds of tragedies and wars and catastrophes throughout history, and now suddenly this is the first time everyone's all riled up, really? If you watch that, you shouldn't watch that. It's dishonoring the victims. Anyway, I digress. Back to Evan Peters. You know, I did hesitate before bringing this to light, because I'm sure that the last thing that Evan Peters wants is to be associated with the idea of an abused boyfriend, because that in and of itself, and you can ask Johnny Depp, that in itself carries a kind of a stigma. Either people don't believe you, or they laugh at it, or they think, oh, you know, you're such a pussy, what was your deal? Or she can't really abuse you, look at how much bigger you are. Or are you some kind of masochist? Do you like to be beat up on by women, or are you just weak? You know, all these negative things. But I don't think that Evan Peters is any of those things, based on what I've seen. I think he's an exceptionally talented, interesting person, and I think that he wound up, like a lot of strong, interesting, intelligent people, he wound up with a toxic, narcissistic personality, just like Johnny Depp wound up with Amber Heard, and just like a lot of us at times cross paths with or fall into the traps of toxic people. But it is really annoying the way that society just completely looked the other way with the Emma Roberts thing. Yeah, it got some reporting, but nobody really cared, and now she's doing really great with her career. Did it even hurt her career? It wasn't even a bump in the road. And you get all this, you know, even now, if you look up Emma Roberts and Evan Peters, what you're going to mostly get is this gushing stuff, a timeline of their relationship, or, you know, their passionate love, or people like to say it was a roller coaster. Yeah, it was a roller coaster. That euphemism for when a woman beats up a man, they just call it, oh, it was a roller coaster, it was passion. It's hot, baby, it's hot. Yeah, it's real hot until your finger comes off, or you got bite marks that you didn't want, or a bloody nose, and people are looking at pictures of your girlfriend coming out, the perpetrator, and they go, oh, aren't they cute? Young love, it's so passionate. Meanwhile, guys like Johnny Depp and a bunch of other people, on the word of women, of their female accusers, are getting destroyed, getting canceled. The fact that someone could pull the wool over so many people's eyes, like the Amber Heard phenomenon, and that the media could be exposed in a trial, in a methodical trial to the truth, and they still, most of them are like, no, no, no. Let's give her another Glamour Award. Someone call Michelle Dahmer Female Abuser of the Year, okay? I mean, if it were Female Abuser of the Decade, then we could get Emma Roberts in there and they could battle it out, she and Amber Heard. Anyway, that didn't sound right, did it? I was thinking sort of like a gladiator contest, right? You have Emma Roberts and Amber Heard in the ring, and they each get like one weapon. Emma Roberts seems like all she needs is her teeth. Amber Heard might ask for a vodka bottle. So, chilled, of course, frozen. All right, that's all I got. Anyway, so, as always, check out my stuff. I have so many different videos on a range of interesting topics, and if you appreciate my work, I always appreciate your tips. The links are below. Bye, everybody.